Hello everyone, welcome to NDA Defense Institute's Daily Current Affairs. So let us see some of the important current affairs of today. The first one, it is the last ice area. So recently, a part of Arctic's ice called the last ice area, it is dubbed as last ice area. It is located on the north of Greenland, okay, the North Pole, has melted before it even expected. And scientists have shown this as a proof that the global warming is real and is happening at a very faster rate than expected. In the article published in 2015 itself, the Nat Geo, it has said that the total disappearance of the summer ice in the Arctic will be by 2040, but the only place that is an exception for this melting, they have said that the area that is called last ice area. So that is why in 2015 itself, while total disappearance of the summer ice is expected, except this area, everywhere the disappearance of ice is expected. But even in that last ice, that is why it is called as last ice area, but the last ice area has melted before even it is expected. And World Wide Fund, a private non-profit organization, it says that the climate change is shrinking the extent of Arctic summer ice. Okay, it also affects greatly specific animals like polar bear, because polar bear, it will cut off the lands. Okay, polar bear cannot swim for so long like seals, so it is a detrimental to polar bears and also other local communities. And yes, so this piece of the ice above this North Canada and Greenland was expected to last the longest time, but it has even, just imagine 2040, even at 40 it was expected to stand, but now it has started to melt. So it is the thing. And recently this ice melting thing has been happening for so long. Also some 3 months before, A76, okay, the world's largest iceberg, it has broken away from this Ronne ice shelf of Antarctica. In Antarctica, it is triple the size of San Francisco. That much size it broke away. It looked like a slab, okay, like a big island. It is triple the size of San Francisco. It broken away. This A76, dubbed as the longest iceberg in the Ronne ice shelf of Antarctica. So this ice melting, it is happening in a rate that even scientists, okay, it is faster than the rate even scientists has expected. Next one, it is Bagram Air Base. So the last US and the NATO, okay, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, Collective Security Organization, that forces have left Afghanistan's Bagram Air Base, which is a strategical air base which is used by the NATO allies as well as the US in their Operation Enduring Freedom, which is happening for the last 20 years. War against this Taliban specifically, and it is confirmed by the US officials. Yes, so this pullout, they say, is a signal of complete withdrawal of the foreign forces from Afghanistan. And yes, so this is a contention. This specific air base is a contention because the Taliban has occupied, okay, most of the area, and this Bagram Air Base is only exception. So silently the US troops are moving out, and the President Joe Biden, they have he said that by 11th September, okay, 9/11, to commemorate this 9/11 attack, okay, September, which attack happened on 2001, which prompted USA to enter into this specific venture of Afghanistan. So on the same day, the American troops are finally into. So by September 11, no foreign army people or no foreign elements will be there in the Afghanistan. Next one, it is heat pumps. So recently a new technology or a new alternative has been found, about ACs. So AC, air conditioners, so it has a lot of negative impacts on the global warming because of it is using this HCFC, CFC, chlorofluorocarbon, hydrofluorocarbon as a refrigerant. It is a ozone depleting substance, ODS. Many protocols, Kigali Protocol, Montreal Protocol, Vienna Protocol, all prohibit this kind of ODS substances. So as an alternative, okay, and it's also environment friendly. Some cities in US, they are considering this heat pumps. So what is this heat pumps? Simple. This heat pumps, so heat is a real phenomena. Okay, the absence of heat, when we take heat from that area, it is called cold. There is no specific phenomena called cold. Okay, only heat is there. Only heat is a real thing, and when there is no heat, it will automatically become cold. Okay, so simple. These heat pumps will absorb, or it will transfer the heat. It will absorb the heat. So what happens? Cooling will happen. Okay, so that is why it says much like a refrigerator. Okay, so heat pumps use electricity to move heat from a cool space to a warm space. Okay, if you take heat from a warm space, it will cool. But if you take heat from even a cool space, it will even further cool more. The same happens. So this makes the cool place cooler and the warm place warmer. So the heat, the warmer heat, okay, it will be used for this, heaters and other heat waters like that. Okay, heaters, it will be used for that. And the cooler place, the cool place, it will be even become cooler. Okay, so simple. The heat pump does not create any heat or cool air, but it merely shifts air. That is shifting or transferring of the heat from cool area to even warm area. Thereby, in the cool area will become even more cooler. Okay, because the absence of heat is cold. This is a machine, as you can see. And yes, so if a heat pump is being used inside a room to make it cool, it will absorb the heat in the room and it will release the excess heat via outdoors, or we can also use the heat for other purpose as well. But the only disadvantage with respect to this heat pumps is that it is energy efficient, but the thing is it cannot be used for extreme climates. Okay, extreme climates in the sense, for example, a very cold area we cannot use this, very warm area we cannot use this. In the median area, okay, in the subtropics we can use it, not in the tropics. It will not be that much efficient. So that is why it is for climates with moderate heating and cooling needs, not extreme heating. Okay, it will only provide with the moderate heating, moderate cooling, and not extreme heating and extreme cooling. Next one is satellite TV classroom. So recently ISRO has given its acceptance to the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Education, okay, to provide this technical assistance for satellite TV classroom, because recently lot of report has been even you have said USDA plus report yesterday. It says that there is a lot of digital divide, which means the availability of smartphones and reception network, internet, and because of that many school going students, okay, during this pandemic missed their classes. There is a lot of digital divide, and to avoid that, the Parliamentary Standing the Committee on Education has asked the ISRO to provide, okay, what is the feasibility of providing education via satellite TV classroom. Simple, by means of satellite TV classroom, directly by satellite we can, using the set-top box, we can watch it in the TV. Okay, no need of any internet, no need of internet connection, no need of any network, poor network, nothing like that. Okay, directly by means of dish we can get anywhere throughout India. So that is why satellite TV classroom, and it is to bridge the learning gap due to the COVID-19. Yes, so Vinay Shashastra Buddhe, okay, he is the head of this parliamentary panel, and he asked the scientists to provide this technical assistance to plug the gap in the learning. And yes, and it says the committee explored satellite TV classrooms that will broadcast the school-based educational program. So broadcast anyone using dish and set-top box. Nowadays even in Tamil Nadu, RSA cable TV has been giving set-top boxes free of cost. So they can simply remove. There is no need for even dish. You can easily, okay, receive by means of a set-top box and an input. And students can take advantage if it in cluster classroom, and the issue of having smartphone and data connectivity can be resolved by means of this. So no data connection is needed, no network is needed, no need to go to the floor top to the area where the reception is there, nothing like that. You can sitting in any point in India with just a TV and a set-top box, you can easily able to view the school programs and class lessons. Next one, Atul Keshav. So recently, Atul Keshav, Indian origin person of USA citizen. Okay, he is overseas citizen of India, appointed as United States new envoy to India, ambassador to India. So he will serve as the charge d'affaires, okay, chief of mission of this US mission in India. So they said that because of Indian origin, Atul Keshav, okay, it will be very useful, and he can easily communicate with the Indian officials. So that is the reason they said why they have selected this Atul Keshav. And this guy already has served as an ambassador to Sri Lanka as well as Maldives. Next one, it is new vaccine testing laboratory. The Union government has sanctioned establishment of another new vaccine testing laboratory in Hyderabad. So this facility, okay, will be set up at the National Institute of Animal Biotechnology in Hyderabad, and it will function in the DBT, okay, Department of Biotechnology. And the funds, okay, has been sanctioned under this PM Care Fund. Using the PM Care Fund, it will be fully set up under the fund received in PM Cares. And so this facility will help in saving time for the clearances, because vaccine testing, okay, it has phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 trials, lot of trials has to happen. After that only DGCA, okay, clinical trials, DGCA, it will approve the vaccine. So since the vaccines are taking a lot of time because only 2 vaccine testing laboratories are available, the center is molded this idea to set up a additional testing laboratory, and it will be in the next 1 month. Okay, it will be created within the next 1 month, and at present there are 2 vaccine testing laboratories in country. Okay, one is Central Drug Laboratory situated at Kasauli, and another one is National Institute of Biological situated at Noida, UP. So these are the 2, and this will be the 3rd one. This Hyderabad facility, it will be the 3rd vaccine testing laboratory of our country. Next one, Innovation Ambassador, online training program for CBSE teachers. So recently, Ministry of Education, the Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal, he launched this specific Innovation Ambassador online training program for CBSE teachers. So CBSE, okay, all in collaboration with Ministry of Education's Innovation Cell, MIC, All India Council for Technical Education, AICTE, and together they will impart training to nearly 50,000 teachers, okay, as innovation ambassadors. So like Swachh Bharat ambassadors, whoever excels in Swachh Bharat cleaning process, cleaning mechanisms, they will be accorded with the title of Swachh Bharat ambassadors. So they will inspire people and they will encourage others to take this Swachh Bharat to their homes and public. Similarly, okay, this will train the teachers as innovation ambassadors, and further they will encourage other persons to follow their suit. And CBSE schools, they can nominate a maximum of 5 teachers for the programs, and the training will be provided on first come first serve basis. Okay, CBSE can register till, and the program is intended to start by the 20th of July. So it is again a skill upgradation process for teachers. Like Nishita, the world's largest teacher training program under Ministry of Education. It specifically, okay, while that is for skill upgradation as a whole, holistic approach, this is specifically for innovation. Next is Invest India. So recently, the Commerce Ministry has congratulated Invest India, okay, a non-profit organization under Ministry of Commerce and Industry, because it has been judged as the world's most innovative investment promotion agency by OCO Global. So it is in the name, yes. So the Invest India, it is set up in 2009 as a non-profit venture under the DPIIT, Department of Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, DPIIT, Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So simple. So they will market like Cooptex, okay, like NAFED, National Cooperative Federation. So like that, they will make, okay, they will go throughout the world, globally to each country, do exhibitions, okay, do presentations, inspire people and ask them to invest in India. So they go like a canvassing, okay, they go canvassing through different parts of the country. They will exhibit this exhibition, okay, fair shows like that, and they will encourage the investors there to come and invest in India. So it is like a marketing team, okay, of our India. That is why Invest India. And yes, so it is a national investment promotion and facilitation agency. So it will promote, okay, this investment environment in India, and ask the companies and other individuals from different part of the country to invest in India. And so it will focus on this sector specific investor targeting and development of new partnership to enable sustainable investments. Okay, so recently sustainable investment has been the Invest India's prior focus, and in addition to the core team that focuses on sustainable investment, it also partners with investment promoting agencies and multi-lateral organizations. So each country have a investment promotion and facilitation agency like Invest India for each country. They will collaborate with them and they will work together, and also with other multilateral organizations like UNIDO, UNO, WTO, etc. Simple, promote invention, encourage people around the world to invest in India, thereby increasing the investment culture in India. Next one, it is Central Reserve Police Force. So CRPF, okay, a Central Police Force, they have signed a memorandum of understanding with the CDAC, Center for Development of Advanced Computing, okay, and it is to train under Ministry of Science and Technology. It is to train the manpower of force in advanced technologies, okay, to train the manpower in IoT, Internet of Things, it is a feature, cyber security, artificial intelligence, high performance computing and big data analytics, because recently cyber crime and other futuristic and other hi-fi technical theft and fraud has been increasing. So to train the personals in that, the CRPF has made a MOU with CDAC, okay, which is a government agency as well. and it will train the personals, okay, officials of CRPF and other persons to be aware how to handle it, and what are the approaches in combating this kind of online frauds and high-end technical thefts and frauds. And the CRPF, yes, it is a premier central police force of Union of India, and the CRPF is generally placed in this Naxal affected area like Bastar region, the Dandakaranya, Bastar region, Chhattisgarh, and other Maoist affected regions. CRPF, and yes, the CRPF function on the authority of Ministry of Home Affairs. So all the paramilitary forces, so military forces are Army, Navy, Air Force, and Coast Guard, and paramilitary forces remaining all other central forces come under paramilitary forces like Assam Rifles, Sashastra Seema Bal, Indo-Tibetan Police Force, BSF, CRPF. All these forces come under the Ministry of Home Affairs, while the armed forces, Army, Air Force, Navy, Coast Guard come under Ministry of Defence. So that's it with the today's current affairs. So let us come up with more informative and in-depth current affairs tomorrow. Thank you.